So today I want to work with actually in the sitting, something that I've been doing with my meditation teacher, Matthew Hepburn, in noticing when there's struggle in the body. So as you sit in this upright, dignified way, at some point, you know, even under our best attempts to be in the present moment, to still the body, to still the mind, there is likely to be some struggle. It can be with physical sensations. Good morning, Julia. It can be with emotions, mind states. It can be with thoughts themselves. So as we sit, if you notice any struggle, you can pause at that time. See what you're struggling against, be it a thought, a mind state. Body sensations is often a common one as there's pain in the body. Take a pause and just use your investigative wisdom to see why there is a struggle. In general, there's lack of acceptance when there's any notion of struggle with mind states, emotions, with thoughts, with body sensations, particularly pain. See if you can come closer and nearer to what it is that you're struggling with. Be at that edge, not pushing it away. Be at that very edge. Awareness has the ability to go to that edge, be it in fear, be it in pain, be it in painful emotions and thoughts. And if there's no struggle with any of that, that's fine too. But at some point in the day, there is likely to be some struggle with something. In this way, you can use this formal meditation practice time as a tool to your daily Dharma practice. Again, if there's no struggle with body sensations, with emotions, mind states, or with thoughts, don't worry. And if there is, see if you can cultivate a level of acceptance with whatever is arising in the body and in the mind. It is the relationship with what's arising that is critical, not what is arising, but the relationship you have to it. And then if you'd like, you can fold the palms in front of the chest. May I be a boat, a raft, a bridge for all beings to cross the flood. May I be a resting place for the weary. May I be medicine for all who are sick. May I be a lamp in the darkness for those who are lost. May I do so as long as earth and sky and galaxies exist, until all sentient beings are enlightened. I vow to be here to serve them all. And then when you're ready, if your palms are folded in front of the chest, simply release your hands, lift your gaze, and open your eyes. So we're going to start with the first two supine poses that we actually did on Tuesday. Suptabhaddha-Konasana, if you remember, I said to sit on the bolster, put the belt on. So when you start in this manner with your belt, you're able to bring the heels in a little bit closer to the perineum with the belt, and then you're going to slide off to the floor. So let's start in that way. You'll have the organic support. And we're going to do the mild Viparita Dandasana with cross bolsters after this, because people have really liked that one. Okay, so Suptabhaddha-Konasana. Sit so that your on the height belt on and then slide down. And then you can still bring the heels in a little bit closer. Good. Just relax. If you need head support, take it. So you don't get that. I was doing a little bit of research on the cervical spine where the cranium and basically C1 meet. It's called the OA1 joint, sometimes referred to as the OA joint. And that's one of the areas that have been particularly mindful these days with people spending, myself included, a lot of time on the computer. And we're sitting like this, leading with the chin, and we're getting that bend at that OA joint. So lengthen your cervical, adjust so that your ears are parallel to the floor. That's another way of saying lengthen your cervical. So the top of the ear should be parallel to the ceiling, bottom of the ear parallel to the floor. Sides of the neck long and throat relaxed. You can close the eyes. The arms out to the side is fine, or down beside the hips, but do turn the inner upper arms from the inside out. So use that organic support that the bolster provides in that vertical manner to lengthen the side ribs, but also to expand the chest, to create depth in the armpit chest as you continue to turn the arms from the inside out. And then pressing the feet, widen the thighs away. So it's interesting, on Tuesday, I had talked, we had done Supta Parsvottasana 2. We had gone to the full pose, holding the big toe. And I was talking about opening the groin from side to side, which you're doing now. But I want to touch that next Tuesday in a little bit more detail. And of course, the pathway to opening that groin is very effective through Parsvottasana done with the foot on the chair, which we've done a lot this year. Okay, when you're ready, take the arms overhead to elongate the, if you have, hopefully you'll have room there, Rahel, to stretch the arms overhead. And if you don't worry. And then hold your wrists if you have tighter shoulders. Those of you who have more open armpits and thoracic, you can hold your upper arms. But see that the elbows are in line with the shoulders. And now extend through Parsvottasana. We're going to touch the arm positions later. Reach through the fingertips, keep the elbows firm, and then cross the arms. Again, elbows in line with the shoulders. If your armpits and thoracic, upper thoracic feel very tight, a slight pumping of the elbows up toward the ceiling and back toward the floor might be helpful. Good. Okay, and then final, return the arms down by the side, either in line with the shoulders or beside about 3 inches from the hips. Main event, turn the inner upper arm skin, inner upper biceps, inner upper deltoid from the inside out to bring the shoulder blades flat on the back. Again, continue to lengthen the area at that joint away from the trapezius. If you want to, you can put your thumbs at the base of the occiput and lengthen the cervical spine. So much of where we experience that pain is by leading with the chin toward the computer or looking up and so on and so forth. Okay, now likely you could loosen the belt a smidge and then place the feet flat on the floor, roll to the right side and then come up. And then we're going to do cross bolsters. So let's just assume that everyone has one bolster and one blanket, at least one blanket, preferably 2, so that you have a bit of a neck roll, because when you come back into this, I like to call this a mild Viparita Dandasana. I know some of you have, not necessarily those of you in class today, have said that doing Viparidandasana on the chair is harsh for you, for your neck especially. So when you do it in this manner, it's a little bit what I call it's a mild Viparidandasana. So I've taken the Sarvangasana shape. You can try folder or fold it in half. So it's like cross bolsters. The blanket is put horizontally, the bolster over it. And then the very best way to come into it is to start out naturally, always with bent legs. I go back. Some people like to put a block here. It's not always necessary. And then I get situated with the neck roll because it's likely that the chin will be lifting higher than the forehead. And then I extend one leg and the other. So you can see how that opens the armpit chest. Creates depth there, and it's in a very, very mild back bend shape. What's nice about this is, again, like the Supta Baddha Konasana, you have the organic support. The cushion is softer than the chair. And then to come out of it, you bend the legs, don't do it, obviously you're not coming out of it now, and then go toward the head side, okay? All right, so let's see. So cross bolsters is what we're doing. Hi, Yukiko. That's good shape. Yeah, Val, if you have two bolsters, it's the same setup, but most likely, yeah, you need that head support. You can use two bolsters or one blanket and one bolster and then have a neck roll. Good, Julia. And then many of you can keep the legs bent line if you want to, but stay with bent until you get settled and then extend one leg, then the other. And then if you find, obviously, if your lower spine tends to contract, if the diaphragm needs to be passively spread, then go back to the legs bent. You don't have to straighten them. If you straighten them, have the heels down, the toes up, and use this opportunity to suck the outer shins in. Good. All right. And then the arms can reach overhead. Or if you prefer, they can stay down by the side and then hold in Baddha Hasta. Good. These look like good shapes. You're all kind of like an elongated bridge. So I wanted to do these both today and we did it on Tuesday just so that you have this in your toolbox. We call it cross bolsters. It's often used for people in class if you're not doing Shirshasana. Many people come into cross bolsters because it's a similar shape on the cervical spine. And also, I should say, on the whole spine. Again, if your back feels tight in any way, then by all means, go back to the bent leg entry as we came into it. Good. Yeah, so Yukiko, sit on that vertical bolster, sit on it. Yeah, that you have to, yeah, sit on that, then go back. And I think you're a little bit, might be too close to the wall. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That's why sometimes Yukiko, if you, yeah, and a little bit easier instead of the two bolster, the blanket on the bottom as I have, and then the bolster, it's a little bit less tall, it's a little bit easier to get into. And then oftentimes if people have two bolsters, they'll put a block so it doesn't like kind of slip back. Could try it that way. Just relax, enjoy the breath. Good, that's it. So remember, the neck and the shoulders are on the floor in this one. That's it. The head and the shoulders on the floor, Yukiko, yes. And the roll of the blanket goes in that cervical spine because we don't want the chin to be lifting up toward the ceiling. Lift some, but not in that extreme extension position that often bothers people when they do it in the chair without support. Okay, now to come out again, go head side first, bend the legs in the same way you came into it. Scoot toward your head unless you have the wall very close, then you won't be able to do that. Don't worry. Okay, and then we're going to do, just in case anyone's back bothered them in that, do child's pose and have the blanket that perhaps you use for your neck roll at the root of the thigh. And come into child's pose in that manner. And then we're going to come up and do it this way with the arms going backward, chest forward, and you can add head support, okay? In this way. So first child's pose with blanket at the root of the thigh to spread the lower spine, and the arms can rest on the bolster. If you need the bolster in front of you, yeah. The forms, but keep the arms straight. Do turn the arms from the inside out. Just imagine I'm behind you, pulling the two edges of the blanket, right and left side, behind you. This way, spread, good, Rahel, it spreads your lower spine. That's good setup, Marina. Yeah. Anyone who wants to do Adho Mukha Virasana, if you have knee issues, then certainly you sit on the chair, you reach forward. It could be another chair or simply to a wall. Good. That's good, Marina. Good setup. And that setup can be used for people who, for just in general seated forward bends. Okay, now slowly come up and see how. Just take the arms slightly behind you, not too far behind, because then the deltoid and biceps rolls in just a little bit. And then with the palms facing each other, see how the movement of the arms backward takes your trunk forward. And then you can rest with the arms in a different position on the floor. Now, some people, I know it's nice to have a bolster underneath this right palm and then a bolster underneath the left palm, but let's face it, not everyone has 3-4 bolsters. Decentralize, yeah, once you go forward with the arms, chest going forward, arms reaching back, you'll see how the abdomen takes you forward. Then decentralize the arms. Why do we decentralize the arms? And Marina, you can just hold on to the backs of the chair because otherwise you would need 4 chairs to do that. But actually that's a way we often do Parsvottasana, what you're doing. Good. And then take the arms in line with the shoulders to spread the thoracic and to move the thoracic away from the ceiling. If the thoracic is tight in any way, then decentralizing the arms is super helpful. And that makes really good sense when one is doing seated forward bends like Parsvottasana. Okay. Now, conclude with the Adho Mukha Virasana with the arms in front of you and prepare your inner upper arms and outer armpits and side ribs for Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So now we'll end with this iteration to prepare the arms and the side walls of the trunk. That's it. Keep the arms straight. That means the elbows are poker stiff, they're not bending. Inner upper arms turning, the legs aren't involved now. Legs are resting. Okay. Now, to come up in dog pose, what I want you to do from again, tending to the lumbar spine, having done that cross bolster mild Viparita Dandasana iteration, I want you to immediately come up onto the balls of the feet, right? The reason we do this is to lengthen the lower spine and then take the weight back into the legs. Weight back into the legs. All right, let's try it in that manner. Arms straight, up you go. Unfold the back of the legs, meaning knee into knee, top of the thigh back, top of the shin back, outer shins in. Don't let the outer shins roll out. And then sink the heels down as you continue to press the thighs back. Now, if the backs of the knees are truly opened, truly unfolded, then it's likely you can walk back a little bit more. Because what often prevents us from taking the stance that we need to elongate the spine is the legs haven't been open. So now that you've opened the backs of the knees, see if you can walk back a little bit so that if you were to hang that line from that hip crease down to the floor, your feet and your wrists would be even Steven away from it. All right. Now walk the feet toward the hands. Take the very first stage of Uttanasana, concave back. If you need the blocks, put them in underneath the hands. Look up from the bridge of the nose versus from that OA joint. Don't look up from the OA joint. Good, Lana. And now go down, dive down. Take the hands in line with the feet. Have the hands on the floor or on the blocks. Keeping the legs perpendicular, elongate the side ribs. Good. That's it. Outer shins in. Outer shins in, inner knees away. And now place the hands on the hips and inhale, up you come. It's, and make no mistake, if you can't straighten the legs in Uttanasana, it's fine to bend the legs a little bit and then slowly straighten. Now we're just going to do a more easeful iteration of that with the legs up against the wall. So you all know this one. And you can have your blocks with you on the median side for most of you. And you're forward of the wall, then you bend forward, then you step back. So you're using the wall so that the legs really unfold against the wall. And then we'll do something a little bit differently than what we did on Tuesday. We'll continue with working on the spinal muscles. All right, so Rahel, we're doing Uttanasana against the wall, suck the outer shins in, use the wall, seal the legs to the wall as though you were doing Dandasana and sealing the legs to the floor. Just this whole thing is really to feel something to press the legs against, to open the backs of the knees. If you have a baseboard, it's not, it's not terrible, it will still work. Good. You can stay in concave. So now there's no way, you're feeling the wall, so we're not letting the buttocks roll back. That's the advantage of having the wall behind us versus what we just did before. Okay, so good. Now from here, walk forward to the bricks, to your hands, inhale, up you come. All right, now quickly do Padangusthasana. Hold the big toes. If you need to bend the legs, if your hamstrings are still a little bit tight, then bend the legs. You're holding the big toe, the first two fingers, index finger, middle finger, thumb, and then slowly you'll straighten the legs. Bend to straight. Suck the outer shins in. Let the elbows go out to the sides as you dive down. Good. Holding the big toes. Remember that quality that the legs were perpendicular to the floor. That's good, Marita. Let the elbows go out to the side so that the spine can spread. Do this in such a way, watch the trapezius as it wants to fall on the neck. Keep the trapezius moving up in the direction of the waist. Okay, now place the hands on the hips, inhale, up you come. In that same manner, Parsvottasana, take the arms, reach them up, and then exhale, bend forward. And then take the hands as much, you see if you can get the feet on the wrist line, press the feet down, widen the elbows away, and go down. Again, if you need to bend the legs, that's fine. Again, take that dive down, releasing the waist, side, ribs, and head without letting the trapezius fall on the neck. Bending the legs is fine. Good. All right, now release one hand, then the other. Repeat, because we take one hand, usually our dominant side under first, take the other, reach up, reach through the fingertips, exhale, bend forward, and insert the other hand. And if you didn't notice which one, it's likely that it was your dominant side. It's good, Mary Beth. Yeah, dive down. Outer shins in, inner knees away, inner heels away. Now, take that hand out, be it left or right, inhale up you come. Now we're going to do Uttanasana for the spinal muscles. Of course, Uttanasana is for the spinal muscles and for the hamstrings. So we're going to do it with our back up against the wall versus our legs against the wall. So this is an Uttanasana. It's not commonly taught, but it's taught. And this one, depending on your flexibility, so you can see I'm starting away in the same way I bend forward when I was away, and then I walk into the wall. And then I attempt to get my whole back up against the wall. Some of you could be, I'm about 9 inches, say, from the wall. You might be closer. And then to come out, I move very slowly and will place my forehead and hands on the wall, okay? Go slowly. Hopefully you haven't eaten too much for breakfast, because people often feel a little bit nauseous from doing it this way. Come to good, Rahel. Come in as close as you can as your hamstrings. Good. So this is to spread. If this isn't palatable for you, the other way to do it is placing your whole body, your trunk, on a big table. That will work as well. That's good. These look good. Julia, I think you can get a smidge closer. So slide down. Good, Marita. Slide down. Get as much of your, that's really good, Rahel. Get as much, yeah, that's good. A lot of, yeah, your thoracic is on it. Your mid-back's on it. Very nice. Julia, that's good. It's too bad there's a bunch of Uttanasanas I'd love to teach, but you need a column to do that, where you take the belt, if you remember my studio, around the column, and then the pelvis tips forward. It's a wonderful way to stretch the legs. And I'm saying that because now many of you are kind of in that stretch that we often get when you put the belt around the column. All right, now slowly take your head to the side, come up, bend the legs. Yes, now just place your forehead in the way some of us have done after a rope shirshasana, just to relax. Just the blood pressure. Walk in and just rest your forehead on the wall. So that's really, when you do it facing the wall, is a way of doing it. Yeah, you don't even have to bend forward. You're just standing up against the wall upright with your forehead. Yeah, Maria, just stand in an upright position to recalibrate your blood pressure with your forehead on the wall, and just rest. Again, if you try this at a kitchen counter with arms spread, it's really nice to spread the spinal muscles. Okay, now we'll do one more for the spinal muscles, and this is one that you're more familiar with, the rock and roll, but I want to do rock and roll specifically for the spinal muscles. So I'm not going to ask you to do the final iteration where the legs are straight and we do that. That's a wonderful way to work on hamstring and to some degree spinal muscles. But this way is really effective. So you'll start from Dvipada, Parsvottasana, sometimes referred to as that Kunchanasana, and then keeping the legs bent, you touch the toes to the floor. This helps me keep the lower lumbar spine. If the toes don't come to the floor, put a bolster behind you, as you've seen me demonstrate many times in this manner. So we're doing the leg bent rock and roll iteration so that the lower spine, the middle spine, the thoracic spine can spread. Touchdown. Touchdown. You can do about 5 or 8. Try not to turn your head. So it's bent to bent, not bent to straight. Keep the legs bent so that the spinal muscles now feel like they're using the floor to spread. That's it. Good. Touch down to the bolster. Relax your spinal muscles, all of them, from the lower spine to the upper spine. Okay, now coming back to the hamstrings, we're going to just do a quick timing in Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. You can start with the legs bent, start at 90, and then you can use the bolster and palm the bolster, or you can use a dowel or a block. So your arms are straight, your legs are straight at 90. We're staying about 2 minutes. Those of you who want to use the block between your inner upper thighs, that's fine too. It actually helps you feel your abdomen moving back and can also help in keeping the legs straight. But it's not necessary. You don't have to. I'm just gonna, touch some of the points that I've done the past 4 weeks or so to, again, just to remind your brain, having had that body memory, that smrti. And again, just so that you have access to that in your toolbox. So arms can be overhead as a moving along stage, but do it in such a way that doesn't contract your throat, the sides of the neck muscles, the middle of the throat, nor cause any kind of agitation in the eyes. Relax the eyes. These look good. Now that's really good. The legs are at 90. Marina, you can go, try it with a block between the thighs, or you can even put a belt across the feet if you're getting tired. 10 seconds remaining. These look excellent. So the block, if the legs start to lower, then the belt is more helpful than the brick. Beautiful. Okay, and then take the knees into the chest. Relax there. You can hold the shins. Well done. All right. Take a belt, everyone. We're going to do Supta Padangusthasana, only one today, in a few iterations. If you want the wall, that's fine. Always a good way to do Supta Padangusthasana 1. All right, so you're lying on the floor, still as you were a moment ago. Have the belt. And by now, I would say you probably have some idea as to what position on the foot do you want your belt, right? It can be in the arch of the foot, across the ball of the foot. Eventually, we're holding the big toe or the sides of the foot. It can be in front of the heel. It can be across the middle of the heel, or it can be on the back of the heel, all right? So each position of the belt on the foot has some direct impact on sensation, all right? So because we want to stretch our hamstrings today, you might find good, Mary Beth, that putting it up toward what I'll call close to the heel, the back of the heel, might help. All right, so now when you're ready, take your right knee in, Ekapada Parsvottasana, and then put the belt on your spot. Take the leg to 90 as it was a moment ago. Feel yourself, make it a process. Now the side ribs are even, Steven. The leg is 90. The outer right hip is cutting down to the wall, say, or to the left heel, and the left thigh is pressing into the floor. Now begin to move the leg any amount. Again, make it a process. What is moving the leg? Yes, the hamstrings have to be elongated. The abdomen is engaged, but the pulling down on the strap helps a lot. It helps to unfold the back of the knee as you extend from the inner knee to the inner heel. You can lift the heel up and pull the strap down so that the back of the knee, there's no knee. That's it. And you're moving the leg beyond 90. Of course, the arms, aided by the belt, help move the leg. Good. All right, now let go of the belt, bring the leg back to 90 without, just have the arms down by the sides, no use of the belt, no use of the hands. Now begin to move the leg past 90. And you're going to feel the abdomen moving back in the same way you felt in UPP. And make the leg just move, kind of glide toward the chest, because that's what happens when we do Parsvottasana, when the hands and the arms are in Paschima Namaskar. You need to use your abdomen to move the trunk to the leg. You don't have the hands anymore, be it reaching forward or reaching behind, which we'll do those iterations today. Okay, now for symmetry, Dvipada, both legs, knees in. All right, now we'll stay with this side. I want you to extend through the core of the left heel, hold the big toe of the right hand, left leg's extended, right hand is holding the big toe, and now take the leg up, and now final, move the leg, let the right elbow go out to the side, raise the chest, raise the head, relax the throat, and take the final Supta Parsvottasana 1. If your neck bothers you, then you can put a bolster behind you. That's good. Clamp the left thigh down. Unfold the back of the knee. That's good balance. Those of you who can hold the sides of the foot, but bring the leg with you. That's it, Ralph. Bring the leg with you. So the leg is moving toward your chest. The chest and the head is lifted up a little bit. Good, Julia. These look good. Okay, and out you come. Now we're doing the same path, and I'm going to take this approach with the standing iteration as well. So let's start with Dvipada. You know, it's really good on the back to get into a habit, and I have this past year, the habit of once you've done an asymmetrical pose, do a symmetrical pose. It's really helpful to avoid future or any back pain. All right, so you're in Dvipada. Pause there. Ekapada or Kunchanasana. Belt in the same manner. Stretch the leg up, start at 90, and then make it a process to move beyond 90, back of the knee open. Unfold the back of the leg. We did the unfolding of the backs of the legs in the symmetrical poses, right? Adho Mukha Svanasana, Uttanasana, Padangusthasana, Parsvottasana. It's harder in asymmetrical poses, especially this one, because this airborne leg has nothing to press into, not the air. So pull the strap down, push the heel up, pull the toes down, and open the back of the knee. Imagine you're looking at the back of your left knee and it's not bent. That means that the top of the left thigh has to press back. It means that the inner knee has to lengthen to the inner ankle. It means that the outer shin of the left shin has to move in, all this with the right thigh pressing down. Observe the difference in the two sides. Okay, now let go of belt. Take the arms down by the side, bring the leg back to 90. Now using your abdomen, because that's all you can use to move the leg closer and closer. It may not move much. Yours is moving a lot. Imagine you were doing the final pose where the arms are in Paschima Namaskar or Baddha Hasta. You're standing on 2 feet. That's Parsvottasana. Okay, now bend that leg. Hold the big toe, or some of you could even hold the sides of the foot now. It might be easier than have done it the other way on the right side, where some of you held the big toe and then held the outer edge of the foot. And now take the final where the chest is lifted. Let the elbows go out to the side. If you're holding the side of the foot, if you're holding the left big toe, let the left elbow go out to the side, and you relax the eyes, throat. And then Lana, really clamp that right thigh down. That's good, you keep going. Good. Okay, and now take Dvipada, again for that symmetry. Flex the feet, so you're establishing a nice lifted arch of the foot. The toes are spreading. You're getting that clarity in the foot, and that clarity in the foot, then you can feel the energetic lift through the arch, through the lower leg, and of course, even into the upper leg. All right, now take Adho Mukha Svanasana from a prone position for the upper body. Now that the legs have really been unfolded, see if you can walk the legs back a little bit further. So you can see there's a relationship between unfolding the backs of the legs and that the legs and their relationship to the hips. Most of the time when the legs have not been unfolded, the feet and the hands are too close to each other. Now that we've spent a half an hour or so, 45 minutes unfolding the backs of the legs. See if you can sink the heels down, outer shins in. You'll need that in Parsvottasana. Hands can be on blocks. That's always a good way. Okay. Now walk your feet toward your hands. This time Uttanasana with feet together, dive down. Second stage. Just go down, go down. Without letting the buttocks roll back. Buttocks rolling forward, roll the buttocks over. You can hold the outer edges of the backs of the legs, as I see some of you are doing. Fun, good Rahel. All right, now place the hands on the hips and inhale, up you come. All right, so we're going to do Parsvottasana, not the way we did it on Tuesday, right side, left side. I'm going to have you do the iterations all on the right to make that comparison, and then all on the left. And I think that will be a better way of this, the iterations resonating with your mind and your body. And instead of doing it as we did on Tuesday, from Utthita Hasta Padasana, which is the classic way, starting with the feet wide apart, turning the right leg out, left leg in. We're going to start at the top of the mat, have the blocks beside your feet, and then lifting your left leg up, take a giant step back. All right. So take a giant. I'm going to show you. So one of the biggest problems of this pose is that people turn their back leg in too much. So it's running parallel to the front foot. When you do that, that's this position. When you do that, you lose the indent. Part of this pose is creating compactness in the hips before you bend forward. So the back leg turns in a little bit, but not so much that you lose that indentation. That's an important fact to know, all right? And to feel, more importantly. All right, so establish your legs so that they're long enough to elongate the spine. Make sure the back foot turns in, let's just say 30 degrees, but it should not be running parallel. It can be out of the median line. I have no problem with that, especially if one has back pain. That's a different issue, but don't have the foot turned in like 60 degrees. All right, now keep the legs straight. Now remember what I said in dog pose, suck the outer right shin into the midline. Now, the hips are compact. With that compactness, keeping the outer right shin in, bend forward. As you bend forward, move the roots of the thighs back and take the very first stage. Most of you can bring the hands to the floor, I think. Marina, that's a little bit high for you because in profile, the shoulders are higher than the hips. Okay, so I'm glad you're showing me in profile. All right, legs are straight. Now widen the elbows out to the side like you just did in Uttanasana. And now like you did in Supta Padangusthasana 1, the final pose, bow down. Remember, in bowing down, don't let the outer right hip move out. These look good. If that skin at the outer right hip is moving back to the left heel. All right, now press the feet firmly into the earth, suck the outer right shin, hands on hips, and inhale, up you come. Well done. All right, now second iteration, you just stay put. Same position. This time the arms are going to come back. I'm too far back. Let me see if I can. All right, the arms are going to go up and then you're going to reach forward. So you'll be here. And then you're basically going to do all one motion, bow down, right? All right, so take Parsvottasana. Let me just explain. With the arms up in Urdhva Hastasana, and then with one full motion, you're going to come down, like you're diving down into that second iteration. So I wanted to compact the sequence so you really feel each pose. You've done it in another pose. Now bring the hand. That's it, Mary Beth. See if that helps. Now I'm going to give two possibilities for the exit. You can, one, which is much harder, reach the arms forward and come up, which is hard on the back, or simply place the hands on the hips and up you come. Okay, now third iteration. Third iteration is going to be with your arms like you did in child's pose, reaching backward. Then they'll come to the floor like the first iteration and you'll finish the pose bowing down. Okay? So you don't have to hold anything. You can, I mean, if you want to use the strap to hold something, that's fine. Abhijata taught it this way years ago. So use the arms reaching back like you did in the child's pose to bring the trunk forward. Good. That's it. And the arms, Lana, good, are staying beside the hips, and then complete the pose. You can touch the concave, Lana, and then bow down. Bow down, Yukiko. Bow down, meaning hands to the floor then. That's it, Julia. Hands to the floor. Remember the first iteration. Well, it was the second iteration too. Eventually, we won't have hands. Okay, now to come up, hands on hips, keep the legs straight. That's a tapas. That's a discipline to keep the legs straight. Okay. Now step forward and repeat Uttanasana. We'll take the final Parsvottasana, but before we do that, we're going to do all the left side, okay? Final Uttanasana, feet together, and again. Feet together. Yes, and if you want to place the palms of your hands up against the back of your calf, that can feel really nice, Mary Beth, in that manner. Good, Rahel. Yes. Julia, yes. That's it, Yukiko, that same way. That's very helpful. You can do bend to straight is always an option. Bend to straight works beautifully. Bend to straight is always a good option because when the legs are bent, you're lifting the pelvis up, you're getting the height, and then you can release the lower spine down. Beautiful, Rahel. All right, now inhale, up you come. All right, now we're going to do the same thing to the left that we did to the right. Then what we're going to do is weave in some arm work, then come back to Parsvottasana, right side and left side with the hands in Paschimma Namaskar. Okay, so with that said, starting at the top of the mat, giant step back, right leg. Let me adjust this camera. Giant step back with right leg. Again, look at your back right foot and see that it's turned in like 30 degrees, not 60, because you have to come into the pose with compact hips. Now, keeping the legs straight, left shin in, suck it in, bend forward. As you bend forward, roots of the thighs back. You can touch the concave. So we're starting with the easiest, the most easeful first, and then bow down. Dive down. Hips are balanced side to side. Bending the leg is option. But in this lesson, we're trying to unfold the legs from the get-go. Okay. These look good. Now hands on hips, inhale, up you come. All right, stay in that position. Take the arms up. Arms up to get length in the side ribs, length to the outer armpits. Now keeping the legs poker stiff, bend forward, reaching your arms forward, and one even motion, hands to floor, bring the trunk onto the thigh. Dive down, dive down. Now, if you have no issues with the back or haven't had any chronic issues with the back, reach forward with the arms on the exit or simply place the easier way is hands on hips, inhale, come up. Okay, third iteration, arms reaching backward. All right, so don't have the arms too far reaching backward because that can cause an unhealthy action on that deltoid and biceps rolling in. Just take the arms, pretty much in line with the hips. And then use the arms reaching backward to bring the trunk forward. And then again, take the hands to the floor, finish the pose. Good. That's it, Marina. Can use the belt. I mean, it's a way of, if Paschimma Namaskar isn't accessible, you can do it when we do the final iteration. Okay, now hands on hips. Inhale, up you come, step forward. All right, now let's just do this as a detour, not really a detour, but rest your legs because it's nice to rest the legs in Virasana, and Virasana is a classic pose we use to rest the legs. And we'll do the arms in Virasana, arms in Virasana versus Tadasana. Of course, if you have knee issues, you would be doing it in Tadasana. All right, so the first arm position is Urdhva Hastasana. Reach up, lengthen your side ribs, your outer armpits. Arms are straight. Take time to come into it. If your thighs are splaying out, use the belt. If it's not comfortable, you can stand up or even sit in the chair. Okay, now take the hands to the roots of the thighs. Press the thighs down. All right, now let's do Urdhva Badangulyasana, taking the backs of the hands onto the crown. Let the elbows go out a bit to bring the shoulder blades flat on the back. Make sure you're not pushing the abdomen forward. Lower lumbar should feel lifted and spread. And now reach up, arms straight. Relax the throat, relax the eyes. Bring the hands back to the crown of the head. Separate those elbows, find those shoulder blades snug on the back. They should feel like they're moving into the midline in that manner, like that. And then reach up. Okay, now from Urdhva Badangulyasana, go back to Urdhva Hastasana. Palms, fingers spreading. Open up the fingers, open up the hands, and now bring the palms together without letting the elbows bend and without letting the arms come forward. And again, Urdhva Hastasana, Urdhva Namaskar. Watch the shoulders, don't let them lean back, Maria. Yeah, shoulder, keep your shoulders over your hips. And then Urdhva Hastasana, Urdhva Namaskar. All right, now try it this way. Bring the palms in front of your chest. Let the elbows go out to the side. Keep turning that skin. So you're not holding in the elbows close to the sides of the chest, because then you can't turn the skin. All right, we need this action when we bring the arms behind the back. Keep a firm pressing of each hand. Observe if one hand is pushing the other more effortfully, right? Equal pressure borne across the palms. And now touch Urdhva Namaskar in that manner. And again, Namaskar Mudra to Urdhva Namaskar. Namaskar Mudra to Urdhva Namaskar. All right, now you can show me, I'll show in profile. Rahel, is your neck bothering you? Yeah. So we should talk at the end of the class, because I've been doing these poses for these cervigenical poses, mostly isometric exercises to strengthen the neck. So I don't know if that's helpful to you in any way, but maybe it is. All right, so watch. I'm just showing you in profile. All right, so I'm going to have you take the right arm behind your back first. And then of course you'll take the left arm behind your back. All right, so let me just show that. So I'm taking the arm a little bit out to the side so that I can decentralize a bit, just turn the inner upper biceps. And then any amount I can walk my hand up my back. Now, some of you might not be able to do that, that's fine. Then just keep your hand at the level of the back waist. But again, don't let the elbow track very far behind the hips, because you'll lose the turning of the skin. That's the main point I want to see in this more challenging Sarvangasana shape. So you can show me from behind so I can see. All right, so you take the right arm off to the side, but not far back, because if you take it too far behind the right hip, the skin of the upper biceps and deltoids is rolling in, and I want it to turn. Or why not take your left hand and turn the skin of the right arm? Start in that manner, then bend the elbow slightly, walk the hand up, as high up. If it bothers anyone's neck or right shoulder, then keep the hand at the level of the waist. Good. Now release that right arm and do the left side. Just take the left arm out to the side, not so far back. Turn the skin. You can use your right hand to turn it, and then bring the hand to the level of the waist and walk it up. Walk it up. Okay, these look good. All right, now face forward, release the hand. Now you can face me. And you're going to do an Ekapada Urdhva Hastasana, but use the other hand to turn. And then you're going to look straight on, don't duck the chin, and then reach back. So it's the top arm now of Gomukhasana, the Shirshasana arm. Okay, turn the skin. Use the other hand to turn the skin. Reach up as though you were touching the ceiling. So this triceps is centered, facing right on. Keep your head looking straight on. Don't duck the chin. And now simply bend the elbow so that the upper right arm is not moving away from the ear. It's the cow's head pose, right? That's good. All right, change sides, release the right arm, left arm up, turn the skin, look forward, and then simply bend the elbow. Where the hand goes is where it goes. And the left triceps has stayed center in its place. Okay, then release the arms, take the hands to the roots of the thighs. And again, just let the upper arm skin hang, like hanging, your skin is hanging from a hanger. All right, now you're going to combine the arms action. You're going to take the right arm behind you into Gomukhasana, and then the left arm comes up. All right, don't worry about getting the belt. Don't worry about getting clasping. See if you can center that top arm. So that skin has to turn. See that you're looking straight on. Change sides. Some of you might find that doing it with motion is more easeful, like almost like this kind of shape. Keeping the chin lifted, not ducking. You can work with motion into Gomukhasana, change sides. Remember the Shirshasana top arm triceps. Many of you are letting that arm, that upper arm go out to the side. Now the cow has lost his ear. Bring him in, bring him in. Use your hand. Okay. All right. Now I will say that doing this arm work, which only took, 7 minutes, is really helpful on a regular basis. Okay. Now stretch your legs out, Dandasana, and we're coming back to the full Parsvottasana. So it looks like, so I'm going to give you some options here. Many of you will be able to do it from Paschimma Namaskar. Others of you can do it from Baddha Hasta, although it's not my favorite way to do it, because I often think when people doing, I see this often, when the hands are here, it tends to, and you can make that determination. So if you're doing the pose now with your arms behind your back in Baddha Hasta, make sure you're not pushing your forearms to your navel and making your abdomen protrude forward. I have no problem with Baddha Hasta, but your abdomen has to draw back. Okay, so I'm going to leave it to you. If neither Paschimma or Baddha Hasta work for you, then a really nice way of working, and this is what Abhijata, no, I think it was, forget if it was Abhijata or Gita. I think it was Abhijata. You can use your dowel or a belt and do it this way. And the reason why I say this is because people who have shoulder issues, neither Baddha Hasta, sometimes Baddha Hasta doesn't work, and certainly Paschimma Namaskar won't work. So you can hold the belt and do Parsvottasana classical in that manner, with the dowel, with the belt. All right, so there's lots of options. We're taking it in the same way. Step back with your left leg. Remember, if you get nothing else from this lesson, that back foot is not turned in. Now, oftentimes when we step back, the stance got a little short. Rahel, I think you have to inch out a little bit with the right foot. It's easier, yes, so that the spine can elongate in the same manner I taught you in dog pose, long spine. All right, now the hands are behind your back in Paschimma or Baddha Hasta or holding the dowel. Now look up. So the pose actually starts with a slight arch, a back bend, and then it becomes a forward bend. You can touch the concave, but then finish it off like we did in Supta 1. Suck the outer right shin in. So you have to use your legs mightily. You have to use your abdomen mightily. You don't have access to the hands now to move you forward, nor on the floor. So at this point, we have appreciated our arms. Now press the feet, keep the legs poker stiff, inhale, up you come. Keep the arms in their place. Step in with the left foot, step back with the right leg. Same thing other side. Reach back, take a big step. It's also very good for balance. All right, now compact the hips, walk the hands up, kick the thoracic in, look up. So the eyes of the chest are looking up toward the ceiling, and now pressing the feet, bend forward at the hips. You can just slightly touch the concave. In the concave stage, remember that equal pressure across the palms, and then bow down. Go down. Keep drawing up on that outer left knee to the hip. That's it. Bow down. Good. All right, now hands in their same place. Inhale, up you come. Kick forward with the back leg, and then finally, well done, Mary Beth, release the hands. All right, now just do this. This might feel good. Do Supta Baddha, not Supta Baddha Konasana. Do a quick seated Baddha Konasana. I want to see how we're doing with time. All right, I don't think I'll have time for this all, but all right. Just widen the thighs away. If you need a little bit of height, that's fine, or against the wall, Marina, good. Wow. All right, now stretch your legs out. All right, so I'm going to cut to the chase quickly because I told you my mission today was to compare Parsvottasana and its classical pose, especially with Maricyasana 1, which is a hard forward bend, seated forward bend and twist in one. So take a blanket, stretch out your legs into Dandasana. And if we have, after I teach Maricyasana 1, I might just take a detour. You can come on the screen and we'll see. We can talk amongst ourselves. All right, so I'm going to teach this a little bit differently. Watch. So the first thing I'm going to do is decentralize my left leg. And I'm sitting on at least one blanket. Now, if you find that you cannot get lift of your lower spine on one blanket, then by all means sit on two. And then I'm taking kind of a wide Maricyasana 1 turn. Now watch this carefully. All right, then after I do that, I'm going to bring the leg back on the median line and come into the first stage of Maricyasana 1 where the back is concave. And then the second stage, bowing down, okay? All right, then we'll address the clasp, the final pose after that. Okay, so with that said, bend your right heel, have the right heel close into the buttock bone, decentralize the left leg. Okay, and now close in the gap between the right side of the ribcage and your inner right thigh and turn from the right to the left. So starting out with that, just releasing the lower spine, filling in the gap between the sides of the chest and your inner thigh. Do that in such a manner that don't let that right arm become so effortful that it's letting the shin go out to the side. So arm into knee, knee into the arm. Okay, now bring the left leg back on the median line, reach forward, hold the sides of the foot, take the concave forward bend position. And now widen the elbows and lift them up to the ceiling and bring out without letting the right shin go out to the side. Keep the right shin into the midline and go down, go down, go down. That's it. Now hold, come up, hold the right shin and lengthen out the right leg. Same thing other side. Take the left shin in, decentralize the right, and then turn from the left to the right. Feel the adjacency of the left side, that's it, and turn. It's easier to turn clearly when the leg has been decentralized. Now, bring the right leg back on the median line, keep that adjacency, go lower and lower. So see how I'm bringing my left arm lower down onto that left shin, reach forward and go down. See if you can get smaller and smaller. That will help you. And this is what I saw on Tuesday with the clasping portion. Go down, bow down, like you did in Parsvottasana, like you did Supta Padangusthasana, one final pose. Okay, and now come up. Now we're attempting the clasp. So again, I'm going to show this in profile, so watch. I'm going to start in the classic position from Dandasana, bring the right heel in. All right, lift up. So I'm holding the shin, and lifting the lower spine up. All right, now I'm moving forward, right? It's that same moving forward when the arms were back in Parsvottasana. I'm moving my trunk forward, but also I'm getting smaller. So I'm taking that triceps and I'm lengthening it down to my lower right ankle. And then I'm decentralizing the right arm, extending so that the palm is up, and then see if I can clasp at the level of the back waist. If you can't clasp, then you'll have a belt nearby, same thing. So move forward from the abdomen, go low, get small, and then here's the strap, and then bow down, okay? All right, let's try it. So I just want to present today, there's a method to doing this pose, and sometimes for some reason it gets kind of, in teaching it, a little bit nebulous. All right, so here's the main event that you have to get is in order to clasp, in order to bring this arm, and I won't even say clasp, around this leg, you have to bend forward and move the trunk forward from the abdomen. You have to have that memory of your body in Supta Padangusthasana 1 and Parsvottasana, and you get smaller and smaller. You have to lengthen that triceps lower and lower, and then extend the arm with the palm up helps, and then quickly clasp at the level of the back waist. This is, I think, the most efficient way to teach the clasp. Okay. Otherwise, you're holding the belt, or if you don't want to clasp, just go to the arms here and then bow down. That's fine too, right? Sometimes not so much for shoulder issues, although I have been in class where people say that the clasp bothers their shoulder, then of course don't do it. You know, then just reach it forward with the left leg with both hands. Okay, let's try it with the clasp. All right, you're bending the right. And then bring the trunk forward. The abdomen takes you forward. Then go low down. Yes, aim to get your upper arm low down on that right shin. Then extend the right arm out to the side. Those of you who know Parsvottasana, it's like that. Then clasp at the level of the back waist with strap or not, and then bow down. Now, those of you who have clasped, or if you're using the strap, take the arms backward, and then use the trunk to go forward, right? You have to use your abdomen to go forward. Then you'll have a half a chance of getting your abdomen on your thigh. Good. All right, I'm going to show that in the back. Come up, back up. Let me show you that final action so it's clear as a crystal. All right. So same thing, forward from the abdomen, go low down, get small, movement to clasp, and then look, I'm pulling the arms backward in the same way you did in Parsvottasana. Maybe you were able to hold the fingers, maybe the wrists, and then go down, okay? All right, let's try it one more time on that right side, then we'll do the left side, and then we'll have questions, all right? All right, arm up. If that works for you, reach forward from the abdomen, get smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller, and then extend the right arm, keep turning the right inner arm from the inside out. Use movement to catch the wrists or catch the fingers or catch the strap. Now, icing on the cake, move the arms back away from your waist, and then use that propulsion of the abdomen has to really be engaged now. It's the memory of the body in Parsvottasana and Paschima Namaskar, and go down. Well done. And come back up. Good. Other side. All right. So left heel in, left arm up or not. Come forward from the abdomen. Go low. Take left arm out. With movement, clasp. Let the arms go backward. And then you go forward. The arms going away from the hips, the trunk, the head really helps you come into that final pose, which everyone has struggle with. Good. If it's problematic on that left shoulder, then just hold the outer edge of the right foot. And now everybody, well done. For your abdomen, lie flat in Supta Baddha Konasana, just to spread the abdomen. Sometimes when people do this with an aggression, their diaphragm contracts and it's a very painful feeling. So just rest your feet. The feet can be on a bolster or on a block is fine. Just rest your abdomen. So I wanted today to make the comparison of Parsvottasana and Maricyasana 1. So we're not going to be finished yet, but I just want to pause here to see if anyone has questions on Maricyasana 1, or have they worked with it in a different way that's helpful. And you can tell people, Val.
No, I thought that was really helpful to, once you have your arms and your hands in the clasp, to move them backwards. I could just sort of feel that going forward. That was really helpful.
Yeah. So what happens is when people clasp, they can't get that momentum to go forward. They feel like stuck in space. So the instruction to finish it off is reach backward with the arm so the trunk can lie down. That's the piece that we were finishing today with. Good. All right, so take everyone Supta Baddha Konasana, and then Lana, if you want to stay in Supta Baddha Konasana, otherwise we're going to do Supta 2 for space. Okay, so you have your belt. We're going to end with Supta 2 because it's nice to create that space in the organic body. All right. If you're feeling good in Supta Baddha Konasana, then you can stay there. All right. So use your belt for Supta 2. We're not going for the final pose like we did on Tuesday. All right. Now, for this final pose, I want you not so much to be focused on the physical body, but rather on the inner body, the inner layers, so you feel a sense of space within. So you can reach out with the left arm and take the right leg. You can, of course, decentralizing the left leg will help you physically feel that. So make the pose easeful so you have the ability to feel the pose from its from the inner layers, its physiology. So take the right leg out to the side and just pause there and feel the outlines of the body. You can start with the outer layers and then penetrate your mind inward, even to the organs themselves. Feeling space in the diaphragm, which is a muscle, but space also in the liver, kidneys. Stay for about a minute on the right, and then you'll all come back to Supta Baddha Konasana before you spend a minute on the left. So see if you can, yes, you're doing the shape of Supta Pangushtasana too, but not very concerned about the shape, rather more concerned about the physiology, the psychology, the emotional aspects of the pose. Feeling the calmness in the organs themselves, the passivity in the muscles like the diaphragm, spreading across the navel band, even in the eyes and throat. There's a spreading of the skin. And we've spent about a minute on the left side. Come back through Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana again. Feet can be on bolster or block so that the abdomen can spread even more. And then before Shavasana, if you're in Shavasana now, that's fine. Do Viparita Karani, and then we'll do Shavasana. So the legs will be up at the wall, support your pelvis with a bolster. Most of you need a bolster and a blanket. Taller people, probably 2 bolsters. So legs are hip width apart, up on the wall. And if that's not, if you don't want to do Viparita Karani with the bolster underneath the pelvis, could go flat, especially if you're, remember, back flat is always an option. Or you can just come into the Shavasana now with your lower legs on the seat of the chair, Maria, if that helps, or lower, or the backs of the knees, or however you're doing, and Lana with the bolster. So Mary Beth, is your, so yeah, you want to put the pelvis on the bolster and let the, so ideally in Viparita Karani, the shape is such that the buttocks are dropping toward the floor, so that you're getting the shape of a back bend in the back body, but the legs are in a forward bend. Yeah, a little bit closer to the wall, I think. Viparita Karani is always a tricky pose to get. You can't really see what's happening unless you really stand over the person or from the side. It's tricky. So if we can look at these shapes. Okay, I think we'll start with Viparita Karani maybe on Tuesday next week. And those of you whose legs are against the wall, then by all means, have the legs a little bit apart so that diaphragm can spread. We've used the abdomen quite a bit today. And then those who haven't transitioned to Shavasana can do so when you're ready. Be it lower legs on the seat of the chair, or knees supported, or just flat with the bolster on the roots of the thighs. Those of you who remembered how I used the blanket as a shroud for forehead skin for a busy mind, you can do that. And let's go back to what we began with. Noticing if there's any struggle in the body mind, be it with body sensations, be it with mind states, emotions, the thoughts themselves. There's no struggle with any, that's fine. Sensations in the body, sound, thoughts. They all exist for a short time and pass away. We can observe how we relate to them. Acceptance. if there is a struggle, let's see if you can move closer to it, come to that edge, if you will. Employ patience. Employ acceptance at that edge. The edge of what we're willing to be with. And then those of you who want to do child's pose in the way we did it earlier for the lumbar spine with the blanket roll at the roots of the thighs, that's a possibility. It's always nice to do it after Shavasana before you sit up. So again, use this time, this latter portion of the class for your own mind, body. We'll all end seated and then I'll stop the recording. So the transition from that Viparita Karani shape, or for some of you who would end in Supta Baddha Konasana, is slow. It's not like you're active in your asana, then you do Shavasana and you're out of the pose. It's kind of a seamless transition. And of course, as you go to Shavasana, the more preparation you can do, be it Sarvadasana or Satipanda or Viparita Karani, it actually has a dramatic effect on the ability to relax your body and mind fully in Shavasana. I'm going to stop the recording so it doesn't start.